Let's have a little A-B. This is the wah pedal. And this is my version. Hello, I'm Father Funk, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a wah pedal effect in Ableton. Firstly, what is a wah pedal? A wah pedal is a foot pedal, most commonly used by guitarists. Moving the pedal back and forth sweeps the peak response of a filter up and down, creating a wah-wah effect, which is of course where the pedal gets its name. This effect has been used on countless recordings throughout history, perhaps most famously by Jimi Hendrix on Voodoo Child. Now let's recreate this timeless effect using Ableton stock plugins. Okay, so here I've got two different versions of the same guitar part. This top track here, I recorded this using a Jim Dunlop Crybaby wah pedal, and this one here I've just kept clean so we can recreate the effect ourselves. And both of these were recorded with my Fender Stratocaster, which is a pretty good guitar for getting these kind of sounds. So let's just have a listen to the wah pedal so we can sort of see what we're going for. And then here's the clean version. So as I mentioned in the intro, a wah pedal is like essentially like a sort of filter sweep. So we're going to achieve that effect using an auto filter. So I'm going to drag an auto filter onto this track here. I'm going to put it onto bandpass mode, which is this little guy here. I'm going to put that onto 12, so it's a bit less harsh. And then if I sort of move this around, you'll be able to hear the effects kind of already. Before we kind of dial this in, I'm going to put it into an amp, just because it'll just sound more authentic. And a lot of the kind of wah sound is coming from that filter being driven into an amp, which is kind of like giving it the grit. So I'm going to try it on a few different modes. So yeah, I reckon blues is pretty good. And to start with, I'm just going to use the LFO here. So I'm going to turn that up. So that's going to sort of do what I was just doing there, moving the filter cutoff around, but all by itself. And it's going to do that at this rate here, which we will determine ourselves. So I'm going to switch that onto beats here. I'm going to try it on quarter notes. So that's already sounding pretty close. And as you can see, a lot of the kind of character is coming from the resonance, so you want to have that quite high. Like if I turn the resonance down, it's a lot more subtle. So we want to kind of have it around sort of the midpoint here. There's kind of like 60%. And this is, of course, all down to you, like how extreme you want this effect to be. But yeah, let's have a listen to the original and sort of compare the two now. So yeah, that sounds pretty close. I mean, I'd even say that I prefer the Ableton version just because you get a little bit more control over it, and the kind of clean sound of the guitar comes through a little bit more. And it kind of depends on what sort of music you're making. Like obviously, actual amplifiers and actual pedals and stuff usually works better for like live sounding stuff. But with me, where I'm kind of combining electronics with these live sounds, I like to have a little bit more control. So of course, with a real wah pedal, the player is determining the frequency by moving their foot on the wah pedal. So to create that effect, you could actually map, like you could turn the LFO down and map this frequency here to a MIDI controller, like a foot pedal, or whatever MIDI controller you might have. You could also use automation, so I'll click on the frequency here and then press A, switch to automation mode. And yeah, so we've got like 4 beats here, so I could create a similar effect by doing this. And then sort of duplicating that, for example. And that gives you a little bit more control than if you use the LFO. But I think what's really cool about the LFO is it just makes it so quick and easy. And you can of course throw this on other instruments as well, like a clav, for example, works really well. I mean, one last thing I would do, I'm just going to delete the automation there, turn that LFO back up. One last thing I would do is use a compressor, because having the frequency sweep around like that quite a lot, it does create some quite harsh peaks. So I'm just going to increase, decrease the threshold here, just so it catches those higher peaks. And I'll turn up the makeup gain to make up for that. Cool. I'm going to group those by holding Shift and selecting across there, and then Command G. I'm going to rename that to Wah Guitar Rack. Boom. Press save. And there we go. Instant wah pedal. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Make sure you hit that like button and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more videos from me in the future. Finally, if you'd like to download the Ableton rack from this video and gain access to a bunch more exclusive content and tutorials, sign up to my Patreon by following the link in the description. Big lives!
Ow.